Citizens Bank Park, just quickly, how did it get its name? Well, Citizens Bank and the Phillies entered into a 25-year agreement to the tune of $95 million back in 2004 when the ballpark opened. We're now in our 13th season. With that $95 million, what did they get? Well, $57.5 million of that went towards the naming rights in the ballpark, and $37.5 million for broadcasting and advertising. So because of that, as we go through the park and you look around, you see all the signage, you will not see another mortgage company or another bank anywhere in this park. And of course, you'll see their name all over the place. But that was that agreement. Interesting little side note to that, 2 years into the agreement, Citizens Bank Park, or Citizens Bank, changed their logo. As a result, the Phillies changed 65,000 cup holders behind the seats. But they didn't mind for $95 million, I don't think. Okay? All right, we're going to get started. And when we go down, you see the warning track, the dark dirt area, that's what we're going to have to stay on. We are not allowed to even touch the grass. It is in pristine condition, and our head groundskeeper, Mike Burkholder's, his philosophy on the whole thing is that turf grows by the inch and dies by the foot. So we're not allowed to go anywhere near that grass. Okay? All right, so we'll do that. We'll win the Phillies dugout, which is back here. This picture you're looking at is the year 2008, the night we clinched the World Series, October 29th. Some of you maybe were there, but it was just a great, great night. This section up here, a lot of people say, how come they didn't sell those seats out? Well, what happened was we had over 500 press and media here for the World Series. Our press box, when we go up there, you'll see it holds about 120, 125 people. So the overflow wall went up there, they hooked it up with Wi-Fi, and they were there. And what happened was when we clinched, those guys made a beeline to get downstairs and get their stories out, so it looked empty. But it wasn't. Okay? All right, we're going to show a film about 6 minutes, 7 minutes on the ballpark and the construction. You'll see there were some engineering challenges. This area, years and years ago, was pretty much swamp and marshland. We're 23 feet when you walk in off the street. The ballpark sits the field sits 23 feet below street level, and as a result of that, it's 13 feet below the water table. So you'll see there were some engineering challenges. They'll touch upon them in the film, and then once we finish that, we'll be on our way. Okay.
Citizens Bank Park, proud home of the Philadelphia Phillies, and thank you for taking the time to tour our exciting facility. Before we get started, we'd like to tell you how it all began. Back in the early 90s, a series of beautiful new ballparks began to sprout up all around the country. Up until then, many cities had to share a stadium between the football and baseball teams. With the advent of Camden Yards in Baltimore, the template was set for a baseball-only, natural turf field with great sight lines and modern amenities. As the millennium drew near, it became obvious that Veterans Stadium, which had served the city well for 3 decades, would soon give way to the future. The Phillies design group traveled the country extensively to find the best aspects of all the new ballparks. By the early part of the century, the plans were ready. The dream began in June of 2001, when the Phillies unveiled their design for the new ballpark. The site would occupy 20 acres of land just east of the Vet. The new design would be summed up in 3 simple words: open, intimate, and spectacular. Of course, with any undertaking of this magnitude, special challenges are the norm. Project manager John Stranix explains.
The Phillies' vision of the field was that you're walking off the main concourse and the field would unfold before your eyes. And so that really required us to excavate probably 400,000 cubic yards of soil, which is a significant amount of excavation to establish a platform to build a field. And added to the fact was that excavation, by going down 23 feet, placed us about 13 feet below the existing water table, which meant that we had to pump the water out around the site, make sure it was dry before we started to build things, and then build a building that would keep the water out after we finished construction. And so that's an engineering challenge, it's a construction challenge, it's a logistical weather challenge, and all those are met pretty well.
Building in the temperamental climate of the Northeast also presented its share of challenges.
we knew we had a 28-month project regardless, and so it's going to span 2 years and 2 winters, and you'd expect to find a typical mid-Atlantic winter, a lot of snow, a lot of cold weather days, and so it just makes for some interesting challenges on site. How do you heat the job up and make sure that the concrete is moving and flowing properly?
We've worked in temperatures at 0 degrees and below 0 to over 110 degrees. I just had a great deal of respect for the men and the women that were out here 8 to 10 hours a day working in this heat. And then you go to the other extreme and it's below 0 and they're still out here working.
Throughout the 28 months, the project moved along, and some of us got to see small glimpses of our beautiful new home. In the fall of 2003, Veterans Stadium closed with an emotional ceremony. That winter, the finishing touches were being put in place. Not only would it be a baseball palace, but it would also serve as a museum, a storehouse for 1 million sports memories. Finally, in April of 2004, the new era in Philadelphia sports had begun. Citizens Bank Park was an instant success. It quickly became a destination, a keystone of the sports complex in South Philadelphia. From the cozy atmosphere to the great food and amenities, there is something here for the whole family. It hardly seems a coincidence that the opening of Citizens Bank Park marked the beginning of the most successful period in Phillies history. With 5 straight division titles, 2 pennants, and an unforgettable World Championship, this can truly be considered the golden age of Phillies baseball. And with the incredible support of our fans, we look forward to many more years of success. But Citizens Bank Park is much more than just a baseball field. In its short history, the ballpark has played host to a variety of events. As you will soon see, Citizens Bank Park has a lot to offer. It's an engineering marvel, a beautiful blend of architecture and technology, an ever-evolving playground for the best fans in baseball.
I hope you enjoyed your visit to Citizens Bank Park, and we look forward to seeing you here many more times.
Okay, so you can see there was a little bit of a challenge in constructing this ballpark. They actually came in under schedule, 28-month window they had, and they actually came in a little bit ahead of time. Pretty unusual for a task of that magnitude. Great spot to get a picture taken with the kids. He usually comes up here maybe about an hour, 15 minutes or so before the game, and then he's anything about him. He's off and running all over the place after that.
Oh my gosh, Dad, remember that roller coaster that passed by?
No.
I'm joking.
Ready to come up front? Okay, this level, appropriately called the suite level. Okay, there are 70 suites on this level, extending from left field foul pole pretty much all the way around to the right field foul pole. Okay, 4 of these suites are retained by the Phillies. This is one of them. This is the All-Star suite, and adjacent to this is the MVP suite. These are larger than the standard suite. The standard suite holds 16 people. You get 4 parking passes with that. These hold 30 people, you get 6 parking passes. That's suite number 1. Suite number 35 is the owner's suite. That is behind home plate. Same thing, standard suite, 16 seats. And they entertain whoever they want to entertain because they're the owners. But they're right behind home plate. All of the decor is similar. Our green friend coming in from the ceiling. is in all the suites. Baseball wallpaper, the backs of the chairs, the high tops with the baseball, the bar stools in the shape of bases there. Okay, so all that is typical in all of the suites. Okay, now the corporate suites, how do they go? Well, they're more than $5,900. They range from $150,000 to $250,000 a year, and they do not include food and beverage. Okay, so that's extra, but I never saw a company not feed their clients and give them something to drink in here, so they do pay for that extra. Okay, they are leased out on 4, 7, and 10-year leases. So the longer your lease and your commitment, a little bit better break in the price. And of course, the other factor is your proximity closer to the infield. About 60% of these suites are around the infield area. Okay, so these are your top seats. You have to commit to a full season, as you do in all the premium seating areas, which is 162 game schedule, so 81 games, home games. You have to commit to them, and fingers crossed, playoffs, you have to commit to them also. Maybe not this year. We're working on. We got a pretty good young team surprising us right now. We'll see what happens, but we're hopeful in the next couple of years we're back where we were before. But you do have to commit to those tickets also. You do not have to commit to anything that is non-Phillies baseball related. Namely, we have Billy Joel coming here July 9th, Paul McCartney July 12th. Back in January 3rd actually of 2012, we had the NHL Winter Classic here. They set the field up. The rink was actually from right field there. You see the 3:30 sign, and it came down this way towards third base. Wasn't snowing that week, so they put a bunch of cotton on the field. So if you were watching it on TV, you thought it had snowed. That was all over there. But then they had the NHL old-timers play. They had college teams play locally and high school teams. So the field got chewed up a little bit. So back in 2012, part of that agreement with the NHL was they subsidized the Phillies quite handsomely to replace the field. Originally, we had Kentucky bluegrass in here. This is known as Riviera Bermuda. The significance of that is it's generally found in the southern states in a warmer climate. This is the farthest north it was ever experimented with, and as you can see there, it's held up quite well since 2012. It is grown in a sod farm down in Maryland. Just now, the infield's covered for the rain, of course. Hopefully tonight, I think we'll get. I'm sure we'll get the game in. But we skinned that. They skinned that field in December, took all the grass off, and they replaced the infield, which was the Bermuda grass. They replaced that with Kentucky bluegrass, which was the original. A little fuller, grows a little higher, and so it slows the ball down a little bit more in the infield. The grass itself is cut to 7/8 of an inch. When the team's home, they cut it twice a day, exception being today, of course. And when they're away, they cut it once every few days. Okay. I don't know if he's rolling the room. I think I mentioned it, but Mike Burkholder, our head groundskeeper, his philosophy is grows by the inch and dies by the foot. So we're not allowed to stay on. It's a meticulous, year in and year out, one of the top 5 ballparks that's rated in Major League Baseball. The warning track around it, the brown air, that is pulverized lava from the state of Colorado. Our former chairman, our chairman emeritus now, Mr. Giles, he liked the color, so that's why we have the dark brown. Okay. Any questions on anything? We'll talk about some of the other features in the ballpark when we get up to the press box. But any questions on anything? I don't know if you would ever have the occasion for a friend, a relative, or somebody to say that they have tickets down here. Are you interested? If you can do it, you're interested. It's a great spot.